love that opening, Rory.
It's a good opening, isn't it?
Every time I'm happy to be here. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. What about yourself? You having a good time?
I think I'm okay. I'm like, just kind of noticing the in the monitor. I'm a little bit looking a little dark there. Hold on a second. My things are switching the view on me because I just started up the app that we've been working on. So sometimes I guess I'm totally guilty of working on this without you sometimes. And
Well, sometimes the moment strikes, and you kind of got to get in there when you have the ideas, right?
it happened over the weekend, and I was like, because I knew I had some work that was going to be some drudge work that I needed
Sure.
to get done. And so I started up in that. Let me just do one thing before I get in and show you what I did. I want to take my chat and I want to move it over to my right monitor so I've got that and I can watch the chat room over there. So we were doing tests from the chat room where we were just typing things in and sending them out. Then I started working on this control right here. In fact, not only this control, but some other custom controls inside of this, because I wanted to be able to allow the Dungeon Master to create effects. And effects were going to be bound to, let's see if I've got this up here. I think I have it. Let me drag this up here now for a second. So this is my ongoing evolving spec here.
Sure.
But an array of effects could be bound to the consumption of an item, when the item is equipped, when the item is unequipped, when the item is discarded. They could also be bound to a particular kind of attack. Effects on hit, perhaps, and maybe an on miss as well. On hit, on miss, something like that.
Yep.
So that's kind of what's going on with the effect. So I wanted to be able to bind these effects to different things so that when the Dungeon Master says, okay, or when the player says, I'm going to drink my health potion, the Dungeon Master goes over and clicks on the health potion and then clicks the button to consume it. Mm-hmm. And then the effect on consume, whatever the list of effects are there, they just start playing, which could include a sound effect, gulp, 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 and maybe a poof of red smoke or something like that.
Nice.
And then the mods associated with that particular item when it was consumed would then be take place as well. But the mods are separate. They're down here. Right now I'm just working on the visual effects. So the context for this is, in case you're just joining us, the context for this is a Dungeons & Dragons live stream that's going to have live graphics overlaid. I think sometimes these are called Chyron, Chyron, and live graphics overlaid and effects that accentuate the gameplay, that give the viewers more information about what's happening, what's at stake, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. So over the weekend, I was like, I had a few hours, and I started cranking out the stuff that traditionally is, I think, not fun to watch and not fun to do. Okay. What I have is a control here called an effect builder, and it's this whole control right here. And so I can select a particular type of effect. Like, for example, I can do an animation. Let's switch to the regular view and see if we can actually see these showing up over the stream. I can then choose what my target is: active player, active enemy, scroll position. If I was on the scroll position, I could pick a particular page on the scroll and then a particular item on it, like the gold pieces item. And then what would happen is the effect would center around the center of that particular location on the screen. Yeah. So we'll just pick active player for now. Or I can specify an absolute screen position if I want to do that. And then with all of these, I can also specify an optional target offset. So I could say the player, but I want it to be up above the player's head. So I might add or subtract 100 from the value, whatever it is. And so that, now I haven't got all the logic here working for the targeting on the receiving end, the TypeScript end of this thing. But on the sending end, I've got this control that allows me to set all these values and then send them. Okay,
that's good.
Just to give you a kind of a view into what's going on behind the scenes there. Let's see, effect builder. Let's jump over to view the code. I think get effect is this call that I added, And I check to see, hey, is it a sound effect? Then I call get sound effect. If is it an animation, then I call get animation effect. Is it the emitter, that's the radio button that's checked? Then I call get emitter effect. I haven't, this is empty right now. It's right up here. It just returns null.
Sure, yeah.
But this one, get animation effect, is working. Get sound effect, I think, is also doing nothing. Well, it says return new sound effect. So I guess it sends something, but it's not doing anything. And I don't really have the ability to specify sound file names yet. But it's there, and there's nothing on the TypeScript end of things. Get animation effect is working, though. And it calls get animation name, which checks on what are the radio buttons that are selected here. So if we look over here, and when I select, for example, emitter, I get a different set of controls. Sound effect, I get just this simple control to specify the file name. If I choose animation, these are the controls I get for animation. The animation allows me to choose which one of these I want. So if I do smoke, if I just choose test effect, I think we'll see it over the stream. Yeah, there it is right there. Showed up just to my left. Right there. I'll do it again there, and you can see that. That's the smoke coming out. I can come out here and I can change adjust the hue. I can rotate it by 220 degrees, and then we'll see a nice blue hue coming out there. I can say, well, let's rotate it only by, if I wanted to get like yellow. Yellow's I think around 50 degrees, maybe 40 degrees, 45. And let's try it. And it's kind of an orange, but if I bump up the brightness and to like say 300%. There you go. Nice little amber color there. So nice. Cool effect showing up there. I've got a poof effect as well. Now here's the thing. Almost every single one of these effects is coming out in red. And the hue allows me to change it. So this poof, this next effect right here, when I do this one, it's kind of now it's got a yellowy wisp to it. This one's already kind of bright, so I don't need to brighten it that much. Let's drop it back to 100. Let's do maybe 200.
It's almost fire-like in that case, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. It is a little bit like fire, isn't it? When it's like that. So there's that, and I can similarly rotate it anywhere around that spectrum out there. Let's drop brightness down. Let's drop it down to say 80, for example, and I can take all the saturation out if I want to just make it grayscale. Like this.
So the way this is actually transmitting, I mean, you've got quite a complex set of controls here with hierarchical bits of information being built. Are you just building that then into, as you say, a kind of an effects class, which is being serialized and sent over the wire just as is? So effectively, I'm guessing that's just a pile of JSON that is arriving on the TypeScript end of things?
You guessed.
And then you kind of disseminate and work out which pieces to then react to, yeah?
Yeah, you guessed correctly. So if we look at get animation name, we're returning new animation effect here. Let me go back here. Get animation effect. Returns that, get effect. There's your JSON convert serialize object call right there. That's what's happening. And then we call trigger effect, and that's what goes to our SignalR, sends that over to the TypeScript side of things. On the TypeScript side of things, we get it over in dragonfrontgame.ts.
Yep.
And it's in this trigger effect call. It eventually finds its way here. So there's another piece that gets it before this. In fact, I can go out and show you that. It's right here. So here's where we connect to SignalR inside connection.ts. We say, hey, when the trigger effect comes in, I want you to call trigger effect. With the effect data, there it is. I check to see if active front game is defined. And if it is, if it's out there and been created, then we're going to call trigger effect on it. And then we're going to parse that data. And there's our DTO right there. And then we're going to just we're going to couple checks on what the sprite name is as we go down through here. So there's the sprite name, and we're just checking. And then what we're doing is setting the sprites array to the correct thing and creating a new instance of that sprite. That's what we're doing. And we're passing in the hue shift, saturation, starting frame index, which, by the way, I don't have there's no starting frame index field yet, but I probably will add one. I'm thinking about adding one because one of the things that you might want to do is you might want to overlay effects on top of each other and have them start at a different time. For example, the Fumes Effect, let me do the Fumes Effect right here, and we'll test that effect right there. The Fumes Effect, you can see it over here to my, I think it's your left, actually, your left and my left as well, because I've switched everything, so it's actually my left as well. That's the Fume Effect. But if I start two at the same time right next to each other, it'll be obvious that we're just in a loop, right? Because they're exactly the same. But if I offset them by a bit, that will be useful. But the Fumes Effect is for, by the way, that is for when you're poisoned. So let's go ahead and see if we can simulate that. I think green is about, it's about 140, I think. So we're going to try that, and we are going to, let's just put it right there and see what we get. Yeah, it's kind of there, not bad. Let's increase the brightness to 200, and let's move its, let's give it an offset of about 350. That should put up right underneath me, if my estimation is correct. And so if I was poisoned in the game, when it was my turn, what you're seeing now would be right underneath me. In fact, let me just clear that out a second. We'll refresh that, and I'll send it one more time so you don't have the distraction of the other piece. And so that's what...
the current problem is, of course, that the frame index is fixed for virtually everything. So what happens is, it's like when we had the coins spinning, right? Every single coin, before we changed it, was spinning at exactly the same rate, and it would look very artificial. Right?
Yes.
With this, with a slightly different offset for each one, it looks far more organic. You can have lots and lots of copies of the same thing, but at different parts during their cycle, and it just looks so much more organic, so much more real, and again, immersive, so you just feel like things are actually happening properly.
Yeah. I also have sparks. I'll just run through some of these effects right here. There's sparks. So it's coming out green because of this adjustment piece right here, right? Because whatever that is, and the brightness change. But I've got sparks for like magical effects. This one I think is going to come in really handy as well. Embers. So it's really subtle. But here, let me bring it up over to like, say 400 like this. Let's do embers again. Watch this.
This is nice.
Yeah, it's nice right there. There's a large, and then the medium one is slightly different. Looks like that right there. Looks like the centerpieces are off on those. I'll have to double check that. And then I've got stars for when you're like stunned or unconscious. You can kind of see that. This actually, by the way, looks a lot better when you're not cranking up the brightness so much. Let me bring that back to here and refresh.
It's kind of a Looney Tunes effect.
Yeah, it's a little Looney Tunes, but the idea is when you're stunned, when the player's stunned and it's their turn, that indicator will be there. I've got restrained as well. The restrained is not quite working the way I want. I want to adjust the game engine. Right now, it's kind of doing this kind of thing right here, and you can kind of see it, but it's kind of snapping back, and I want it instead to breathe. I want it to rotate forward, reverse, rotate back, and then I want it to change its frame per second rate, slow it down for the next one, and then go forward and back, and then change it back to the previous one. So I want to be able to specify an array of frame rates. And if it sees that, and also it's rocking back and forth, I want it to basically simulate a breathing effect with only 20 frames of animation. So that's what I want to do there. Let me
Let me ask you a quick question. You've got a targeting effect for the active player or the active enemy. Do you have anything planned certainly for inactive players? So it might be your turn, but somebody else is still suffering effects.
No, the inactive player we're not going to show the effects on. We won't do that. That's just a decision I made because of the overlays that we're doing. So when it's their turn, the effects will be there. When it's not, you'll see them, but they'll be obscured maybe by the shoulder of the player in front of them. So that's kind of the idea right there. Hold on a second. I've got no, not important. All right. I thought I had an important interruption. Okay. I've got this for when you're charmed, something like that. Still working on it. Probably need to drop the size of that a bit right there. And I have the blood effects, which I don't think I've shown yet. We'll go from smallest all the way up. So if we let's bring this back to 350, and let's do test effect. So when I'm hit, I've shown you the particle effects with the blood. We're going to do that, but also when a hit occurs, it'll be something like that, accompanied with a sound.
Like just an impact blood, so to speak.
Yeah.
Hitting the surface almost.
Will Bennett says, why the else's? I think he's referring to a line where they've got a bunch of returns all the way down, because I'm a fan of symmetry, and I'm feeling the symmetry of the whole thing. I like that. And then as we get bigger and bigger in size, you're seeing what's happening here. When we play, we're going to be a little bit bigger than this. I think I can switch to that view like that. And let's change this to like a negative 350 right there. Test the effect. And slightly too far to the side. Let's make it 150. Try again. Okay, like that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's covering my face more than I want. A larger hit. Boom, like that. It's a slightly gruesome. But
well, it's a dangerous game playing against dragons.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll play with it. We'll see what we like it on. This is my favorite though. Check this one out. This is the gush. Do you love that?
That's nice. That's very good.
Can you imagine that accompanying with just a coming out of a live player? I think it's really beautiful, is what I think. So that's what we've got. We've got essentially the ability to send effects over. Now, there's a couple things I have to do, and some of them are not what I call like fun. But one of the things I have to do is I have to create an editor that allows me to add a bunch of these together and send them all over as one, right? So I need a list. I need the ability to name these, And I need the ability to offset these in time. I imagine if we do that, we'll do that maybe tomorrow or the next day, I think. But I wanted to work today on the emitter, is what I wanted to do. By the way, I should let everybody know that you can get the source for this, as always, out at GitHub. The only caveat on this whole thing here in the chat room, by the way, there's the link to it. Today's show is episode 81. You can get the code right there. That's the code we're starting with today. The only caveat is that these assets are not produced manually by myself. They are assets I'm licensing, and therefore I cannot check them in to source control.
Okay.
So as a result, there are no assets out there in the source code base. So, but you can certainly get the code and take a look at what we're doing with regards to how we're building the classes. And everything that's in there we've written. There are no third-party libraries we are relying upon, although I will say that Will Bennett has been instrumental in helping us out with some of the code here.
Indeed.
He has contributed to the game engine, and the reason that we appreciate him so much is, well, it's because
Will Bennett rocks.
Do you like how I just timed that in with Mr. Announcer
That
Guy?
was incredibly well done, yes.
You are
the man.
As if the show were run by professionals. Professionals, people. All right.
Smooth as.
Yeah, smooth as. So here we go. Take a look up here. Here's what I built. Now, I built some custom controls. One of my favorite custom controls is this one that combines a label, an edit box, and another label right here. I do that for numbers all over the place because I love putting the units right afterwards. Is it a percent?
Yeah.
Or is it, here, let me zoom in on this so we can talk about this, right? Is it a percent? Is it kilograms per meters cubed? Is it just a count? Is it pixels? Is it meters per second, right? I like to see that.
Lend that clarity to it. And I love the way that you've got it sort of sunk. It's not full bright. It's faded slightly, so it doesn't impact the actual reading of it, but it's available if you choose to concentrate on it.
Yeah. Now, I want to do something with this that I think will be fun. I want to make it so I can click and drag this left or right. And as I click and drag it, it'll roll the number up or down.
Nice.
Is what I want to do, and by some amount. And I wanted to be able to specify what that amount would be and what the extremes would be. And then so I can, because this is a feature that is in a number of Adobe products. And I really like it. I like just clicking and dragging to set and releasing the mouse to set my number. And so you click down, and then basically we say, well, where are you on screen? How far do you have to drag on this monitor, left and right? And then we say, okay, whatever range you have to the right, we're going to now make between where we are and 100. And then to the left, the same thing. And then as you drag, we're just going to roll the number up or down.
It's a particularly nice UI effect to have. I mean, we have things like CodeRushed where we try to give you a way to always keep your hands on the keyboard, because we perceive that as somebody who's writing code, you are primarily using the keyboard. And we don't want to have to interrupt your flow to have you reach for the mouse and invoke some kind of functionality. But here, the Dungeon Master's got kind of the opposite effect. He is primarily using the mouse to point and click and select things. So to give him another way of not having to take his hand off the mouse, so to continue his natural UI or UX experience, is a good idea. So continuity, but a different kind of continuity.
Right. However, this UI right here, Rory, will likely never be used while the game is being played.
Okay.
This is to create effects in advance, because this is just so complex here. There's no way I want to...
Well, that's true, yeah.
But everything you said is absolutely true. It just, for this, I just want to clarify, this is not going to be used in-game. So, the other piece that we have on here is, you remember, Rory, you were part of this when we created our target value class.
Target value, when its abstract sense when it was made, and when you were showing how basically this was as you say, it's named very well. It's a target value, but it has a variance built in, so it can drift, it can wander slightly. New values are picked from it, and they are in the area of the target value. But as I say, they have a certain variance. To that. It's a really lovely idea, and helps with so many of those effects.
Yeah, they really made it easy to write a lot of this code. I created a target value control in WPF, and it's pretty cool. It's not what I would call shippable. Like it's got a few UI issues I want to change, but you can see them all here. Here's my value, but then I have a plus or minus. If I specify percent, then it's going to be a percent of it. If I specify a number without percent, it's going to be that absolute. World Wake asked, did someone say shippable? Ship it. Nice. Yeah, someone said shippable. I heard it. It's out the door.
It's done, right?
It's out the door. Did somebody say test cases? Don't know.
now?
Did somebody? By the way, I'm watching Russian Doll on Netflix, and I heard the word unit test for the first time in any.
Compiles. Let's ship it!
It compiles. Let's ship it. Yeah, I heard unit test for the first time. Thanks, Will, for that. I heard unit test for the first time, and in a movie, and I was like, not bad. It was singular, not plural. So I was like, she was like, then we run a unit test, and I was like, no, you run a bunch of unit tests.
It's always novel when mainstream get a hold of some terminology that they think, this will make us sound more authentic.
Yeah, it's not
They
bad.
put it in there, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's better.
It's not bad. I liked it.
So
It's like I've seen tweets where people are saying, I'd love to see them say, wait, we can't launch the missile. We got to run all the tests, make sure they're green first, right? And I thought, if I were writing a script, I'm putting that in there, right? No.
Yeah.
Wait till all the tests are green, right? And then they're like, go, go, go. They jump out of the plane or they do whatever they have to do. Notice when I start making changes here to non-zero values or zero, right? Other pieces become visible or not, right?
Okay.
Inside of here. So if I say, plus or minus, let's say we want to say 20%, I also have the ability to specify min and max. They're already preset for 0 and 360 because that's the particle color default preset, and it's the binding option is to wrap it, right?
Yep.
Remember we had rocking and truncating, right, where we just hit the limit, we don't go any further, and we had your drift, which you suggested, Rory, which is now built in, and so that's this control right here, and so that's it. Now we've got all this data, but we're not sending it over. So I think what we need to do is start building something where we can send it over, and that's what I think I want to do. And I'm not sure if I can do this using edit and continue. Let's maybe give it a shot and see if we can. Let's see. We've got an animation effect. Let's see if we have an emitter effect out here somewhere. I think we're going to run into trouble because we don't have an emitter effect, and we're going to have to build it. Yeah, I think there's a sound effect and nothing else. I think we're going to have to shut everything down, and we're going to have to build it. Hold on. I think we might be able to give it a shot. So button sample effect, click. I can set a breakpoint here, and we can start building it. So I can just say test effect like that. Wait, what? Is it because I'm not here? No, there goes the blood splatter. Oh, that's sample. Sorry, that's up here. That's this button right there. Okay, good. All right.
Okay, so you're broken in, ready to write some more code, certainly. Whether it'll be picked up and used, it's down to the edit continue logic, but we'll see.
Yeah, get emitter effect. This is where I want to do. This is what I want to start working on right here. So I need to create a new class, and I'm going to kind of drill into animation effect and kind of look at what we've got here. I think we can do whatever we want here on this. It looks like we're not calling super from, because we're in C# and not JavaScript. For a second, I was like, wait, where's the super call? Then I realized, it's optional base, and orient yourself, kids.
It's a little tricky with all these curly brace languages.
I'm just noticing. Will Bennett says in the chat room, I heard, why would you use PHP in Blind Spot yesterday? So,
I'm not sure what blind spot is, but yeah, you do get sort of terminology like that thrown around. It's kind of fun.
All right. So, I'm trying to think about, I feel like I've seen a reference to blind spot, but I'm not sure what it is. That's super interesting too. Okay. So, we're going to create a new class, and we're going to call this the emitter effect, like that. And let's get two F's in it. And that's going to descend from effect.
So essentially all we're really building here is a DTO object. It's going to have nothing but structure, and this is the structure that will get serialized via that JSON call into the JSON, which will be sent over the wire. So effectively it needs to contain all the options that we need for the specific emitter effect that we are creating.
Yeah, I'm just realizing the problem here, though, is that I can't like Alt-Tab without here. Here's where we get into the problem, is I can't see this, all of these options, which is kind of what I want to do.
What you need to do is to take a screenshot of it and then embed it in your code using CodeRushed.
Oh, if only we could do that. If only there were a way to do that,
I've
let's...
been using that today like you wouldn't believe. I've been impressing all sorts of people.
Oh, really?
It's just so good.
All right, so let's do that. I just took a screenshot of it. Let's see. Let's put a comment here. And yeah, it's the paste is not working for me, Rory. I'm like...
Actually, this bit me today. I couldn't paste because the code was running.
Oh,
That was the
yeah,
only thing
yeah.
that stopped me.
I think that's what's going on is, yeah, because it's clearly showing up elsewhere when I paste it in. So
Yeah.
let's maybe just stop, I guess. We're just going to deal with it. We're going to stop. I got it on the clipboard. Let's see if I can paste it in. Yep, that's it. Can you send, what's going on with that? I want to know what's going on with that, Rory.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Ask our devs. Let's send a message to our devs. And let me crop this a little more. Crop image. Zoom out a bit. I only need like here and here. Like that. Okay. And let's zoom back in. Okay. So there's my image right there. That's what we're going to base all of our properties and shapes, all those things on here. Now the target is, this whole targeting thing is the same as what I've got down here in animation effect. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it up here, right? Like that. That's my target. Next we need, so the question now that's in my head is, how many of these parameters am I going to pass in to the constructor and how many am I going to set separately? And I'm with the animation effect, my style is pass everything in because I just have a handful of them. But I think what I'm going to do on this one is not do that. And it's just also occurring to me that I want to have a new string field up here called just name. And I want that to be public, like that. So that I want to serialize that out so that we know what's going on with that. Will Bennett tried to do good question. Will, hold on a second. Let me see if I can get you.
Stopped a few bits, yeah.
Let me see
that
if I
was
can
in
get...
response to World Wake, who was asking about the feature that we just used, the image paste. He was asking, how is the picture saved in code? Will's quite right. It is saved in a folder beneath the solution. That allows you to check it into source control and share it amongst everybody else. And for those who don't have the plugin CodeRushed installed, the only thing that is there is literally a one-line comment, which pretty much specifies, as was indicated, the image and crop parameters and the actual, the specificity of which image. And it's particularly efficient. It's very useful. It gets in the way of nobody when they're not using it, and it's just so useful to just qualify. As I say, a picture has 1,000 words, or is like 1,000 words. In this case, it really is. You could say, well, this was my back of the napkin image that I wanted to describe how this screen should look, which is kind of what we're doing here, only we're just taking it from a real one. Or you can take conceptual stuff. We've showed before taking elements from Wikipedia, example formulas and diagrams, things like showing overlap between two pieces. It's a great sort of, I don't know, it's a leveler. Everybody understands imagery. And it's depending on how your articulation is for your comments, it could be considerably better that you use an image rather than just waffle on for hours in a comment hoping somebody will read it. Of course, it can also help you find your place in the code. If you've got a piece of code that does thing A with this particular sprite, paste the sprite in next to it. If lower down you're using something else, paste that in there. So when you're scrolling up and down really quickly, it's dead easy to find what you were looking for.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up some images that we have in other files.
Actually, I think you've got one with a whole bunch of planets in it, for example.
Yeah, there's one right there. But I was thinking,
there's one, there's a meteor.
Is it? I'm trying to remember what it was. Gravity Game, I think, is where it is. Is that right? No, Gravity Games with an S. Is that it? There we go.
There we go. Look.
So we use this here. Same kind of thing. So yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with the images. So this is one of the uses that I really like about it, where I take a screenshot and I'm only going to have this in the file for a little bit, and then I'm going to delete it and get rid of it. So okay, so my visual effect target takes care of these two lines right here. Emitter shape is next, and I think I'm going to need an enum for that. I think I've got. Let's see, what am I doing here? Let's go back up into my, not Mr. Announcer Bot, not the Overlay Manager, this one right here. Do I have enums anywhere? What am I doing with those? Looks like I am trying to see existing enums. Is ability an enum? Ability is an enum. Okay. So it looks like I don't have enums organized anywhere yet. So I'm thinking what I might do is putting those, what's this, attack? It's not conditions is an enum. I'm putting them right here is what I'm doing. Okay, this is an enum specifically not for the D&D model, but for sending over the emitter target. Let me do this too. Let's go in and say move type to file. So we'll move that out to its own file. What's happening here? It looks like we lost the image. Oh no, it's right there. Okay, so it's just, I just have to hit enter on it to get it back. Interesting. So can you do that? Write that down too, Rory?
Yes, certainly.
Note the time into the show. And just, I want move type to file to be like, boom, it's instantly there. Oh, Comps for Food is asking about the folder. Let me show the folder because just so that's clear where the images are stored. Open file in File Explorer. Open folder in File Explorer.
One of the nice parts about this is that it very definitely is saved in a folder beneath your solution, which makes it easy to check it into source control and share with other people.
So this is my solution. I've got a .cr folder, and in the .cr folder, I've got personal settings, team settings, and images for the solution. And if I come up here, these are all the images I've pasted in at different times. When we were working on the drones, I would paste the images in, or the paint splats or the falling seeds or the walls, that sort of thing. I would paste things in so that we could see them. I had a few demos as well where I was saying, hey, this code stinks, or something like that. So those are not really used in the project right now. I was just showing them for the demo. But some of these were like visual placeholders for me. So I could say, okay, here's what works with the left thrust, the engine on the left side or the engine on the right side. Right, and here's these pieces and where they come in because we created.
And actually, there was a good example there as well, especially because you were able to isolate a visual bug, and we all know how difficult it is to convey a visual bug to somebody who's going to have to fix it.
Right.
Here, you can just take an actual picture of the bug at play, paste it in, and say, "This is what's wrong. Please fix it."
Yeah,
which is a great way to convey the actual message in the simplest possible terms.
Yeah, and one of the things you can do is you've got a pixel scale option, so I can right-click this and say, like, let's go to 400%. And instead of scaling it so it's all fuzzy and looks good for like a photograph, it scales it so that you can see each individual pixel. So I can come right-click it again, say pixel scale. Let's go to like 1600. And you can see each individual pixel, which is sometimes useful. So you can use that combining with cropping, that sort of thing. Let's just restore original scale on the image so we get that back here. Okay. So I'm going to start just building stuff here, and we'll move it out later. So I'm going to build an enum. This is going to be the emitter shape, like this, and it's got two options. Circular is one, and the other one is rectangular. And as I say this, I think, oh, shoot. I think we've got an enum already out there that may even be called emitter shape. So let's say jump to everything here. Let's type in, because I'm going outside of this project. Let's see if I have another emitter shape. Whoops, emitter shape. Nope, only here. Emitter kind, any other, there's an emitter fact, nothing else. Looks like that's it. Okay, so it looks like I don't have that yet. Okay, fine. So we'll keep emitter shape in here, and we will say, let's say that's equal to, deciding between 1 and 0 here. I'm going to say that's 1 and this is 2. That's what I think I'm going to do.
I'm interested to see how the JSON serialization works here, whether it will try to preserve the string of the word circular or indeed convert to the numeric, and will we have to decide on the far side to switch based on the numeric, or indeed do we get access to a string?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. So we're going to create a new variable of this type. We're going to call it emitter shape. And we're going to make it public because we want it to be a stream. We want it to be serialized out. Okay.
Yep.
So we've got emitter shape right there. Let's come in here. We're going to create a new variable of type integer. We're going to call that radius. Whoops. Like that. We're going to set it equal to 10, I think.
Okay.
We're going to, I want that to be a double. Sorry. And then I'm going to duplicate the line, and we're going to say we're going to create something called width as well. And we're going to say, fine, I'll keep it at 10. I'll duplicate the line, and we're going to say height, like that. That's our other double. Let's go through and look at any others. We've got edge spread as well. Fine. So I'm just hitting duplicate line, Shift Enter on this
Yep.
for every one of these. Edge spread, that's I wanted to initialize that to 1, so it's 100%. Okay, let's duplicate this line. Next we have Emitter Gravity, and so we'll call this Emitter Gravity, like that. And that is going to be, I guess we'll default it to 0. Emitter wind direction, that is equal to a new vector. Guess what? I created a vector class here, which is strictly just for DTO work. It doesn't actually do anything other than hold an X and a Y. And it has this public static read-only 0 in it. So this is in C#, not to be confused with our really functional vector class that we built in TypeScript. But this is only to get something across to SignalR. So I'm going to say it's a new vector, and I'm going to say 0, 0. Oh, not going to say that, because I'm going to say instead it's vector 0, vector.0. Like that. That's my wind direction. Emitter air density. So that's another, whoops, this is supposed to be vector. Let's fix that. And then we've got emitter air density. Air, come on. Density, like that. And that's going to be 0. So emitter wind and emitter wind determines if the emitter itself is going to blow or move anywhere.
Yeah.
And the air density determines what the resistance is as it's blowing through the wind. The emitter gravity is the emitter going to rise and fall like in our rainbow? I think we have Will Bennett asked, Mark, did you get my email? I did, Will Bennett. Thank you very much for that, by the way. It was Will sent me an email talking about wind, and he said I haven't had a chance to super investigate the link that you gave me, other than click on it and then immediately get distracted by something else. But I totally appreciate it. Will is basically saying, hey, he had done more research, and he found that that wind is acting more in kind of a resistant way rather than a force that's continuously applied. So I love that, by the way. I love when we find more information, we're getting closer to the truth, whatever that truth is. So
That's good.
let me find. I don't think I have the ability to really find that. I'm not sure what monitor my email is going to show up on, and previously when I've done it,
You're looking for the link that he had?
in the email. Yeah, in the email.
Yeah, I got that here.
Oh, you have it? If you can get it and put it in, that'd be awesome.
Let's pop that. I believe it's that link.
Cool. Let's see what we got. We click on that. Yes, awesome. It's gorgeous. Hold on, let me bring it up here so you can see the illustration here. Come on. What's happening? Why can't I grab it? Okay, now
That's a little strange.
Yeah, now I'm just in the strangest. Come on.
You've docked it to the top of the screen somehow.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Okay, I've never seen that before in Edge at all, and I'm not seeing anything here. If I right click it, it thinks I'm clicking on the desktop. So okay, we're going to see that for the rest of the show. That's kind of fun. Unless I shut down Edge, which I don't really want to do right now. So, all right. So there's, Jesus. Why would you do that to me? Wait, what can I get?
It's a great piece of functionality. Can you imagine who's dreamt this idea up? Yeah, we're just going to stick it up to the top. Nobody can touch it. It'll be there forever.
And I can't get to it either. When I go select Edge to find it, it's only showing me 2 windows, not that one. So it's like it's gone. Something happened along the way to bring that up. So, all right. Sorry about that. But let's keep going over here. So we've got this. The link is awesome. Oh, it just occurred to me. Whoa! I hit escape. It thought it was full screen, I think is what happened. Hold on. Let me get here and just move it to the middle. There we go. Hey. Nice. Look at this. Look at these great drawings. Super fun. All right. So that's the link right there that's out in the chat room. As always, I totally appreciate it. Will says,
back to the code.
Yeah, Will's like, get back to the code. Stop Stop talking about how awesome everybody is. All right, we're getting back to the code. Let's do that. No, but I totally appreciate this. Anytime I'm getting closer to understanding more about what's happening, that's awesome and great. Okay, so let's see. We left out but wind direction. We have emitter air density, particles per second. That is going to be a double. I'm going to make that a double.
Okay.
Particles per second, because I think it is in our world as well. It's just a number, which can be anything and should work. Max concurrent particles, like that. And we're going to say that we're going to default that to 4,000 because I think that's what we're defaulting on the other side of things. Particles per second. I guess we can default that as well. And then we're going to say stop after. This is like a limit on how many particles max. And I'm going to say, I don't have infinity here though. I have max value, I think. Oh wait, I do have.
It is infinity, so
I have positive infinity.
Positive infinity. Again, that'll be interesting to see just how that serializes and how it sort of comes out the other side in TypeScript.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to fix something when we get to the other side. Or maybe they'll be brilliant, right? The JSON converter will be like...
Hey, it could happen.
Yeah, it'll all work. So stop after, that maps to a different variable name, which I forget what it is on the other side. I think I'd actually like to find that. So let's see. That's going to be in our overlay manager. Our game engine. Emitter. That is max total particles. That's what that is. I just changed the UI because I wanted it to be a little easier to read. But I want to keep this the same so that our code is like looking like everything's matching up the way it's supposed to be. Max total particles, that's our stop after. I will put a comment here in UI. Okay, emitter air density, particles per second, max concurrent, stop after particle gravity is the next thing we want to do here. So let's come up here. We're going to call this particle gravity, like that. And that particle gravity will also say is defaulting to 0. Looks like I got a particles in there. I just want particle. The gravity center, that's a vector, like that. And I'm going to say that's going to use the same default as what's in the UI right there. So that default in the UI is, I'll explain that in a second. So it's new vector, and it's 960, which is halfway across the screen, and it's 999999.
It's a very, very low down.
It's very far down.
Floor.
Yeah. Will Bennett asks, is there an enum for the circular particle generated in the rectangular particle vector? That's what you're looking for, right? I don't think there is. I was looking for that, Will, and I didn't find it. And I think what we're doing is we're never using that. We're just setting the radius property or setting the rectangle, the width and height property, and then it's saying, oh, I know what to build. I know which generator to use. But for the DTO, we're going to need to store that, know it in advance, because we're going to send these 3 items all over, depending on what they've set. And depending on the value of this on the other side, we'll use either these 2 or this one. So that's how I imagine that's all going to work. Okay. Gravity center.
Particle mass.
Particle mass. Thanks, Rory, for helping me do this. So particle mass, we're going to come up here like this. Particle mass, like that. Particle mass, I'm going to say it's 1. If it's 1, it'll be affected by the wind, and if it's 0, it will not be, I believe. And maybe also how it is affected by gravity. This is something that is coming from Will's contribution to the game engine. I looked at this a little bit over the weekend, and basically I'm using it either at 0 or 1. So there's not really, at least for the emitter particles, it's either 0 or 1. So,
sure.
So I'm going to set that at 1, just like the default. We're going to say particle radius. We're going to set that to 1 as well, just like we're seeing in the UI above us. Oh, but that is not an int. That is that new thing called a target value.
Okay.
Which
we probably don't have on the server side also.
I have not created over here yet.
Yeah.
I got to build it. So we're going to say a new target value like that. And we're going to have to build this thing out here. So that's going to, let's give it a couple parameters here. So target value is going to have the main one. This is our particle radius. So we're going to say 1, comma, a variance of 0%. We're going to say variance type dot relative, like that. And so we're going to need to declare that as an enum. And then we're going to have our min, whoops, don't do that to me, then a max, and then we're going to have a drift. And then we're going to have a binding type, which is going to be of type, will default to truncate. Okay? So now let's start building some of these pieces right here. Let's see if we can come in here and declare this as an enum. Looking for a declare here with a sub. Looks like I don't have that declare enum on here. I'm not seeing that. That's really interesting. Okay.
I'm wondering how much you could get potentially from this. Again, both being curly brace languages, by literally copying some of the TypeScript. Admittedly, none of the methods would work, but from a DTO perspective, the fields are already declared in the target value on the TypeScript side, aren't they?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get some of the. Let's get the. Let's go here. Jump to everything. Look for variance. Is it? Don't see any enum there. Let's go look for target value and see its declaration. Target value TS down there at the bottom.
Okay.
All right. So we have target binding, which is right up here. So we can copy this, and over in Emitter Effect, we can just pop it up at the top like this. So there's our target binding, which, did I not spell it the same way? What did I do? Binding type. Okay, so let's change that to target binding. And what we did in target value is we have an absolute variance and a relative variance. We had two different variables is what we did.
Okay.
Let's maybe do that. Let's pass in two numbers for it. The first one will be the relative and the second one will be the absolute, then the min, the max, and my drift, which is 0. And now let's declare this, and we'll put those pieces inside of there. Okay, so there's the target value. We're going to declare the class. All right, so we had the value.
Looks like we have an incoming raid from C# Fritz.
Oh, awesome.
Welcome, everybody. You join us once again as we are creating code to facilitate our Dungeon Master kind of command center, I guess you'd call it almost. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff here about the transmission from a sort of a control panel for the Dungeon Master, or indeed for the tester of said effects, to transmit all the data about an effect that we wish to appear in the stream to the far side. So we're basically making a bunch of DTOs, which we intend to serialize into JSON, send them over the wire using SignalR, have them arrive on the other side, and then we rehydrate that information and trigger the effects in question. We're actually starting here on the emitters, which is kind of a particle effect emitter. And essentially for various effects, we spew blood using red pixels all over the place. We have maybe some poison effects. We have all kinds of little things like that. And this is all needing an emitter, which we already have on the TypeScript side. We're just making the DTO here so that we can effectively send it some information. And it's proving pretty easy. We've got a picture up above using CodeRushed of the configuration panel that we are going to base this DTO off. And then we are effectively just creating field after field after field. And we are just dipping into a target value class, which is rather than just a fixed integer for represent a property or a value, this allows you to give a target value, sort of an ideal center point, if you like, which will then be allowed a certain amount of variance in terms of percentage or absolute variance. Will it be allowed to drift over time as you select more and more values from it? And what will happen if you go outside of a certain range? So it really does facilitate I guess the organicness of some of these effects.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair comment?
That was totally awesome. Thanks for that, Rory. I noticed Will tried to do a test orbit and didn't show up here. Oh, this is interesting. The 64-bit debugging operation is taking longer than expected. That may not be something that we are going to be able to watch for a while without hitting terminate. Maybe hit terminate? Let's try it.
I find it very hard not to hit those terminate buttons. They're just calling out.
They're calling out. Let's see what's
They
happening.
want to be pushed.
What's interesting, I terminated, and Frito is following, by the way. Thanks for that follow, Frito. Let's look at this right here. I just wanted, Rory said, here's what we've been doing. Let's show you kind of where we are so you can kind of get a sense of that. Let's bring up the Dragon front overlay here, which is what we're currently doing. Let's see if this works now with all of that. It's loading up still. This is our WPF application. This is the overlay. The overlay is also currently live on the stream. We'll just try test purple burst, and it looks like it did not work. I'm not seeing it. And on the let's look at these things, a couple things at a time here. Let's first look at the animations here. So let's look at smoke and see if that works. Smoke is not working. I'm not seeing smoke on here. So let's see what's going on here. It could have been that we just introduced a bug as we're in the middle of doing that work right there. Do we see anything in the console? Nothing in the console. I'm not seeing anything. I wonder if it's related to the error that we got. Let's try shutting it down and starting up one more time and see if we get any luck here on that.
It's a shame. We did feel the need to shut down the actual running mechanics earlier because there was some editing issue. We basically, it's nice to keep things running because you can just keep refreshing the overlay and refreshing the application. But occasionally you run into kind of edit continue conflicting with maybe Chrome sometimes, which just forces us to stop and restart. And sometimes that can make it a little harder for us to see things after that.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Once this finishes loading, we'll do a couple tests here. Okay, there's the finished loading. All right, so the hitting of the scrolls works right here. So if I click on this, we'll hear the sound effects associated with each of these. So this is going to, the intention is to have this also overlay on the stream side as well. Let me try this. Let me try doing a refresh. And also I want to go to the overlay and I want to bring up OBS and I'm going to refresh the cache of that page. So I'm doing the refresh on the front overlay and on the overlay bot, the back overlay as well. I'm going to refresh both of those caches. And Veronica Heck says, oh, nice. So I'm not sure. Oh, that might be the, she's reacting to this part right here. The other piece that we have that's kind of cool is the ability to click on one of these and then have it highlighted. And so if I just zoom in on this for a second, you'll see there's little particles on there that are coming out of that thing. And so we can highlight a particular piece. The Dungeon Master can do that, and they can, and people watching the game can see that, can see the thing that we want them to look at, whatever that is. Here's the effect builder. Let's try the effect again, see if that's working. Okay, there we go. On the stream, I see it.
There we go.
So let me move this out of the way, and then on the stream. So what we're talking about, we already have the ability to send over these different effects like this. Embers, for example, there's a little Ember effect. And fumes as well. And all of these, so you can see this kind of red kind of fume right here next to me. All of these effects, we can rotate the hue of these. So if I want to take my red fumes and turn it into blue fumes, I can adjust the hue by 222 degrees. And then there you're going to see blue fumes over there. These are for player effects, like say, for example, if you're poisoned, we would make that green, for example.
The great part about that is that we only have to have one set of assets per effect, and that we can choose the changing color and the saturation, the brightness, to effectively multiply the number of uses that we have for that particular asset. Minimizes the amount of memory, the amount of resources that we're using up in order to achieve this, and allows us to have that many more effects. It's a fantastic use of our resources.
If the player is hit, then it's reasonable, if it's a big hit, to have a gush of blood come out of the player like that. Let me move that over a little bit. Let's try 220 like that.
I love that effect.
It's pretty fun. I'm going to go to 320. There we go. So if I get hit with a squishy sound effect,
Cush flat.
like that, that'll be fun. So we've done the animation. We're sending that across. Now we want to do the emitter. and be able to specify that and send it across as well. So we're kind of working on that. We've got kind of we took a screenshot of this. We're running down the different pieces of this, and we're filling them out. So that's kind of the up to speed in terms of where we are.
Just to be clear, we're not actually sending animation or emitters across at all. What we're doing here is we're constructing a specification for what we want to happen. We're serializing that and sending it over the wire, which is far more optimal, right?
Yeah.
And then when that arrives, our TypeScript overlay is going to actually read the specification and run the effects, whatever they may be, exactly as specified. So again, very efficient, but with lots of scope for things to happen.
Yeah. And we were just, as the raid came in, there's a test orbit that Will started to do there. So this is an example. The emitter has got a center of gravity right above my head there, and it is shooting the particles out. In this case, the emitter does not have any gravity. It's in fixed position, but the particles have a gravity. And so the test orbit that we had, let me run that again right here. So I'm just typing this in the chat room. Oh, Will overrode me and went to test smoke right there. Oh, we should do the test blood. Let's look at that. That's super fun. So that is what also that's from the emitter right there. So test blood is looking like that. So anyway, fun stuff. Let me go back to, I think, test orbit a second. So test orbit, as I recall, I'm not sure if these particles have an anti-gravity, if I set up a negative gravity, like they're repelling away, or if it's simply from the velocity of the emitter that's in orbit. But you can control those kinds of things. Am I doing this for a game or stream or for fun, is Borman's question. So I'm doing this for this stream so that you can see development. But I am creating a new stream, which is a Dungeons & Dragons live game. It's kind of comedy Dungeons & Dragons. So I've got together my wife, Karen, who we partnered on another comedy podcast in the back called Mondays. And she's with me. And we've got Kent Alstad, who's also a developer. And we've got two other people who are really funny actors, comedians, who are part of it. And we're building all the pieces for it so we can make the game really awesome to watch, right? The Dungeon Master will control and switch these pages. And then in the live stream overlay there, you're seeing it right there. By the way, now if we do the test blood, I think it's more likely to come out. If I switch to me, I'll come up on top of everybody. And now if we do test blood now, Rory, can you give me a test blood in the chat room?
I can indeed, yeah.
I might be able to beat you to it. I think I got it in there. There. And then there's another one, right? So when I get hit, we'll use the particle emitter to do it, but we'll also be able to come in and, maybe combine it with the gushing effect. Here, let's switch this back over to where it was.
I'm very sorry, Mark. Unfortunately, I've hit time on my availability, so I'm going to have to catch you tomorrow.
We're just in the middle of having fun, Rory.
No, you get into all the good stuff. Unfortunately, things sometimes catch up with me, and that's just the way it is today.
All right.
But hey, looking good, isn't it?
Well, Roy, not as good as you're looking, buddy. You are awesome.
Oh.
And thank you so much for helping out today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Always a pleasure.
Okay?
See you then.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
All right. Thanks so much to Rory. He is excellent. I did not. Yeah, Will's asking how's the waterlogged leg. Did not follow up and ask him anything on that, but he seems like he's in good spirits. So I'm going to say he's pretty good. So yeah, we can combine one of the blood effects as well with the test with the blood command. Hold on, let me see if I can do these both at about the same time here. So like this, right? So it's like I get a hit, and then I have the emitter working as well, and so we can do something along those lines. We can even do like for players that have like a different color blood, for example, you can just change that, right? Let's maybe make that a little brighter. So we have a lot of control here over what the effect is, and like Rory was saying before, we only have resources, we only have assets to do it once, and then we're just adjusting the hue and the saturation and the brightness on the asset so that we can reuse it. And that blood gush, for example, that big blood gush, I can make that any color I want, right? I can take all the color out of it and make it black if I want to. It could be something else, right? So we could use these kinds of things in different ways. So it's a really nice optimal reuse. So Borman, yes, it's for it's for a stream, it's for a game, and it's for fun, and it's for this show. So we're doing all of that. The answer is yes to all of those things. Let me clear out the script or the scroll on the side of the screen, and we'll get back over here. And we'll keep working on this. Okay, so we've got a new target value. Well, that's where we were in the middle of declaring here. So the first piece is the value. The second piece is going to be the rela. Oh,
Great question.
What do we got? Another question? Wait. How did that come up? Oh, that was me. Over here, I've got my Stream Deck buttons too close. That was me. All right, so we're going to have to stop this. I'm going to kill all the running stuff. I am going to start up a second instance of Mr. Announcer Bot, which means you should be able, we can test that right now. If you want to get my attention, you can type in bang mark.
Dude, check out the chat room.
And Mr. Announcer Guy will get my attention like that. Yeah, I butt dialed Mr. Announcer Bot with my wrist and my hand over here. I've got to permanently mount the Stream Deck in a place where it's slightly not so close to my keyboard. Okay, so this is going to be relative variance here. Like that. And then we're going to have another one over here. This should not be an int. These need to be doubles. This needs to be a double. Whoops, TD. Like that type, that's a double. It's a CodeRushed template. And this is going to be absolute variance. I'm just following that model that we have already out there before. This is going to be min, also a double. And this is going to be max. This is going to be, this is also a double. This is going to be drift. And this is going, we already know the type of this. Let's set it equal to target binding dot truncate. And let's set drift equal to 0, because we should not need that. Min and max, I think I'm going to say min is 0 and max is 1, which is common for percentages, right? So if I'm going from 0 to 100%, that's going to be common right there. And I think absolute variance, we're going to say that's equal to 0. And we're going to say relative variance is equal to 1, because relative is a multiplier and absolute is additive. Right? So, right? Is that right? No. Relative variance is a percentage of the total. That's how I implemented it. Sorry, just remembering that. Okay. So, so there's that. Now, what I want to do, I think what I want to do is just for the purposes of, I think, cut all this to the clipboard. I'm going to come in here, paste it. I am going to do a search and replace of comma for a semicolon, like that. And then let's see what else. Let's take these all in one line, like this. Like that. And then I think what I want to do is I want to use the CodeRushed CC template for constructor create. Wait a second, what's going on? Value double. Oh, because these others are all initialized. I'm going to take out the initializations. So everything was 0 but max, which was 1. And let's do the same thing here. Let's use the template one more time. CC like that. Let's select all of these. And we will, there's value, relative variance, absolute variance, min, max, drift, target binding. And now I can set the defaults for those. Target binding dot truncate, and drift was 0, max was 1, min was 0, 0, 0, and cool. So now I've got my constructor and the piece I need with all of the assignments and the pieces there. So the CC template went from this right here, and then said, hey, everything that's not initialized, I'll pass it in as a parameter if you want. And I said, yeah, go, let's do it. So there's my target value right there. Okay, so I've got my target value constructor. That's feeling pretty good. And let's see here, that was for particle radius. So next one is min particle size. So that's just going to be a double. And I'm going to say 0.5, keep it with the default that's in the UI. Particle initial direction, that's a vector. So we'll come in here and say particle initial direction. We'll say that's also at 0. Particle initial velocity is a double. We're going to set that equal to 1 meters per second, just like we have in the UI. Particle wind direction. Oops, that's a vector. So we're going to say it's equal to vector dot 0. Change the type over here. Particle air density. Like that, and that particle air density is going to be 1. The bonus velocity vector. This is what I use for the streams of blood that come out, the blood streams. If we do that, send that test blood out again. Here, let's do that. And are we going to be able to see it because I shut down the app? Nope, we're not going to be able to see it. Okay, until we start it up again. All right, so the bonus velocity vector, this is what's used for the, so the emitter says everything's good, particles are going to kind of shoot out from it, right? You can also say, give it an initial velocity vector and say, well, I want them all to kind of go in one direction from it, right? But the bonus velocity vector, what that does is that says, okay, I still want everything to kind of come out in a varied way, right, from it. And so I'm not going to specify initial velocity, the particle initial direction, this one here. I'll set that, still keep that at 0, but I'll say this one is going to be like, say, it's going to be shooting up like this to the side at this many meters per second. And what will happen then is it'll then take those that are kind of going out like this, but then add to them that other velocity. So you have this very kind of organic kind of flow to that as it comes out. So we're going to call this the bonus velocity vector there. That's going to be 0. Since it's additive, by setting it to 0, nothing is going to happen on the other side. And renders our oldest particles last. So this is a Boolean property here. Render oldest particles last. Like that. And we'll set that equal to false. Okay. Fade in time is a double. That, and that's going to be 0.4 seconds. And my lifespan, like that, that's going to be 3 seconds. And max opacity, it's going to be 100%. And then we get into 3 more of these target value pieces here. We have hue. And with hue, we want to default this thing to wrapping. And our min and max are 0 and 360. Like that. And the target value is going to be 0 on the hue. Then we have saturation. And it's going to be 100%. And it's going to have a similarly 0, 0, the min value of 0, and we want the truncate, this one. And then we come down here with brightness like this. And similarly 1, 0, 0, 0, 100, 0, and truncating. So we've got hue, saturation, and brightness. And that, I guess, is all of them. So that is what we need to build an emitter. Next, we need to fill it in. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to assume I got all of these. Maybe I'll keep this for a second. And let's now create a new emitter effect in the right spot. So we need to do that in, I forget where it is. Hold on a second. Let's go find it. Whoops. go to, is it create effect? No, what is it? Effect. Get effect. An effect builder. So get emitter effect is here's what we want to do here. So we want to say, I've got that right there. And you're setting brightness to more than 100% before though. Yeah. So let me explain that so for a second so you can see what's going on there. It is legal to set the brightness to more than 100%. It basically is 100% of the existing brightness, and then you can multiply it to get it bigger. So you can actually go to like 500% and it has a different impact. These are also defaults, right? So in the emitter effect, I'm setting the default to 100, but there's nothing that stops you from coming in and changing the max value right in here when the UI is up, right? Going in and changing that max. So I'm just setting in a default max value, but you can change that to anything you want because the control lets you do that. So I'm okay with keeping this at 100, even though, yeah, I was setting brightness to other values in other places for the animations. For this, I don't think it'll make any impact. Here, I think it actually makes sense to peak it at 100 because I'm not taking an existing color that might be very dark and then trying to make it much brighter. So I think we're okay there. So we're going to say new emitter effect. I'm going to declare local on that. I think I need to pass in anything. No, nothing. I think I want to at least. Okay, I guess I'm okay with that. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to come in and now we need to start transferring over some properties here. So we're going to come at the end of this and we're going to say return emitter effect. So we're going to say emitter effect dot. Oops, I got to make those things public. Let's make all those public. What's going on here? Inconsistent accessibility. Looks like we put this. No, wait. Oh, here. That's my problem. Okay, right there. So is that going to get rid of these problems? Yeah, all those are gone now, it looks like. What's going on with these? Is assigned, but its value is never used, but it's public. You should not be complaining about that anymore. You should be okay. Well, I'm going to use it soon, so it should go away soon. What's here? Inconsistent accessibility, primitive target binding. We'll fix you. Make that public. Okay, like that. All right, so now let's set some properties here based on the controls that are in this WPF control we're in. So I'm going to say, fine, bonus velocity vector is equal to new. Do I have a vector? How did I create this from before? Double X and double Y? What I thought I had. No, I have a 2 vector inside of here. No, where is it? Where is 2 vector? No, it's right up above me. Oh, it's just complaining because it doesn't have the piece inside there. So I think I have a bonus TBX for text box, bonus velocity dot text. So I'm going to pass in its text and it's going to give me back a vector. So that's not too painful. There's bonus velocity vector. Next one is brightness. That's going to be equal to, and now I think I need to say to target value, which I haven't created yet. And I need to pass in one of my target value controls here, emitter brightness, TV brightness, I bet it's called. No. Numeric up-down brightness. No, that's not the one I want. Adjust brightness. Why is that a numeric up-down? That doesn't make sense to me. What's going on here? These are those. Those are not what I'm talking about. Let's see what else. Let's look in here for bright. Okay, these are not named correctly. That's why. That's the problem here. I think I can rename them safely here. to say TV because it's a TV, a target value edit. Or maybe I should say TVE, TV. I'll do TV for these. So let's do that. We'll rename those to TV. I don't think I have any code hooked up to these yet. Okay, so I think we're good there. Let's come back over here into the code. And it's going to be TV. Brightness, perfect. So now let's create this one. Declare a new method there. Put it there. Let's create a new target value. Like that. And I think I've got a get num that takes a string. So it just gives me this piece right here. So it brings back a double. So I'm just going to use that. So I'm going to say get num of target value edit dot value. That's a string property. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to just abbreviate this to TVE for right now. Normally I don't do this, but I want to do this just so I can get all of these in here. So we're going to say next one is a relative variance. What? Variance, what is it? Our variance, oh, because it's as a string. That's right, what I decided to do. Okay, hold on one second. We need to create a new int. So the way I set it up is if my variance was equal to, like, say, for example, 0%, like that, as a string, I would say, oh, that means you want it to be relative. And if it was anything else that didn't end in it, that means you want it to be absolute. Absolute, like that. So, like, for example, a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or whatever that is. So we're going to add that number. So we need to find out if it ends with a percent on that variance. So let's go ahead and work with that variance for a second here. So I'm going to create a new string here, call it the variance stir, like that. Set that equal to this, dot trim. Let's trim it. And then I want to say if variance stir dot ends with, whoops, where am I? If it ends with percent, then we're going to do one thing with it, and we got to get two numbers up here. We need to get a variable type double, which is going to be our relative variance, and we're going to set that equal to 0. And then we're going to have an absolute variance down underneath it. Absolute variance right there, also setting it and initializing it to 0. So if it ends with percent, then we're going to say, well, in that case, relative variance is equal to get num of variance stir dot substir. Come on, there we go. Substir 0 to variance stir dot length -1. Okay, so that's going to strip off the end of that. Is going to strip the end of that off of there. Otherwise, we're going to say absolute variance is equal to just equal to get num passing in the variance star. Okay, so let's put these up here like that. So that's just an easy way. So we made the controls easy. All you have to do is add percent right there. So then now all we have to do is put pass in here my relative variance followed by my absolute variance, right, for those two pieces right there. Then I want to pass in my min. So that's going to be get num, passing in TVE dot min right there. And I want to pass in my max as well. Let's go to the next line and grab the max. And might as well throw in my drift. Did I put these in the right spots? I have a feeling. What? I don't have a drift property in my target value edit? I think I need to add a drift property. Ooh, let's go figure that out. What's going on with target value edit? show drift property, definitely have that, but that's not the same as drift. I have drift changed. Drift text changed. Guess who needs a drift property? Looks like I totally need it. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so here's min. Let's just copy min. I should put it down under max. And let's fix all this. So this is going to be our drift property. And register the property, name of drift. The default is 0. Let's do a drift changed. We're going to do that. Property is drift, get value on drift property, get value on drift property. Drift changed. And we want to see if this is the case. We want to say, hey, tbx.drift.text is equal to e.newValue. Is that all we need to do? I should double check to see where like TBS max is showing up. Anywhere else inside this code? So I'm using tab to next reference. Nope, it's not anywhere else in the code. So that should be sufficient to do that. Let's do a rebuild up here. See if that works. Yeah, well, I don't think that the, oh, what do we got? We got some issues. Okay, because I was in the middle of doing this. And we have target binding. Let's do this, tv.get target binding. Like that. And let's go declare that. A semicolon here. Let's declare that. Yeah, I saw the SP drift over there. Well, the SP is my abbreviation for stack panels, so I knew that was not what I wanted. Okay, let's declare the method. Oops, looks like I clicked out of it. Let's go back and declare it again. Declare method. All right, we'll put it at the end. And now what I want to do is see if CMB binding dot selected value. What does that come back as? What is that type? It's an object. Okay. So I want to say, let's do it, send it to a string. So I'm going to say CS for cast a string. And if that string is equal to, I think I've got truncate in there. Let's go look at CMB binding for a second here. And yeah, truncated, I've got them lowercase in here, truncate, wrap, and rock. So if it's equal to truncate, then what I want to do is return target binding.truncate. Nice. Let's just mark this one and this one. Let's select and duplicate line and change this to wrap and duplicate line, whoops, and duplicate the line again and change it to rock. Look, it did it for me. Nice. Okay, so then, in fact, I could simply just do this, right, like this. In fact, actually, truncate is the one, really the one I want to default to. So I think I'm going to do this instead. Pop it down here, like this. Okay, so there's get target binding. And I think that's going to work. We'll double check that. We'll test that. And if it's not, we'll find out why it's not working. It might not work because selected value might not be what I'm expecting it to be, but I think there's a shot that that's going to come back as a string there. Okay, so to target value, and I think we're done. I think we just need to simply return this right here. And that's what we do. And I think there's a shot that that's going to work. So we've got two target value. We've done the emitter effect on brightness. Let's keep going down here. So we've got brightness. We've got edge spread is next. Edge spread is equal to, what is it, TBX? Dot, nope. Let's try, let's just type in edge and see if we can find it here. Ned, so numeric edit edge spread dot txt. Wait. No. Dot. It's a numeric edit, so it's got the value right here. That value is coming back as a string, so I need to call getNum on it. Zhenjing says, hey Mark, nice coding there. Subscribed here. Hey, thank you so much, Zhenjing. I super appreciate that, and doing my best. I feel like I'm always just barely treading water here. To make cool stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. But thanks so much for that. I appreciate that. Okay. So let's see. Edge spread. We have that. Let's continue along down. Next one is effect kind. What are our options here? Animation emitter. Oh, okay. Well, this is, why do we have effect kind? Do we need that? I guess we do. Oh, yeah, because we need it on the other side to find out what it is. So we're going to say effect kind is equal to this kind. It's an emitter. Emitter air density is equal to, let's see if we can just type in air density, find it. There it is, numeric. Let's do this. Ooh, I already got it. Did I already do this? Nice. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So now I'm going to get rid of the getNum call up here and do that right there. So I've got value is double there. Makes it nicer. Okay, emitter air density. Next one is emitter gravity. That's also similarly. Let's just try duplicate line here. Emitter air gravity. No, wait, emitter gravity, sorry. Like that. And something gravity, emitter gravity, like that. Cool. And then I want to go to what's next, looking up here. What's after gravity is emitter shape. Okay. So it's going to be circular or rectangular. That depends on what the radio buttons are. So we're going to say if RB circular, something I think is what I've got out here. Emitter round is what we're looking at. So if emitter round, do I have it? Is there an emitter round? There it is, right there. Dot is checked. By the way, I added a new template over the weekend. It's /F. And a /F, it's not shipping yet, but if I do a /F, the slash is right above, on my US keyboard, is right below the question mark. So normally you would do something like this, question mark, false, like this, right? And where you're basically checking to see if this nullable Boolean is true or false. But I can get that faster just by the /F like this. And so that's just a faster way to get it. So I've got a /F, and I also added a /T as well if you ever need that. So we expect those to ship in a future one. Doing anything special for 500 followers, asked Will. I don't think so. What I was going to do is on the 100th show, I was going to do the explosive show, where we light up actual explosives right here in front of my face remotely from the chat room. That's kind of what I was planning on doing when we got to 100 shows. So we're about like 19 shows away from that, which is like a couple weeks at our current schedule. A couple weeks, I think like 4 or 5. I have not planned to do anything for 500 followers, maybe. we can do that. You know, maybe we can do that. I'm playing around with that idea. Still, you know, my wife, Karen, is he still seems to be very firmly against lighting off explosives, remotely controlled explosives from people in the chat room. But, you know, I think she's going to come across and she'll finally agree at the end. So hopefully that'll be the case. Okay, so let's see. If it's the round one is shaped, then the emitter shape is circular. Otherwise, we're going to say the emitter shape is rectangular, like that. So we're going to do that. And so we've got those 2 bits of code here. Ooh, that looks like my problem. Okay, so after emitter shape, we have emitter wind direction. So that's going to be a call to toVector. And we're going to pass in maybe a TBX wind direction. What do we got? Yep, we got that .text. Cool. Okay, that's my wind direction. Fade in time is equal to, do I have a Ned fade in time? Particle fade in time, perfect. Dot value as double. Cool. Working our way through it. Let me close this down so we can see a little more code on screen. All right, after that, I've got the gravity center. That's a vector, so we're going to say toVector of probably a TBX gravity. This is the emitter gravity center, .text. Cool. Then let's go down next line, and we're at height is equal to Ned height, emitter height, perfect, dot value as double, like that. What happened? Oh, I missed this semicolon right there. Okay. And emitter after height is hue. It's equal to target value, like that, of TV hue, TV particle hue. Perfect. Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. After that, we're going to do lifespan. That's equal to Ned lifespan, particle lifespan, dot value is double, like that. Getting through it. Max concurrent particles. I think we've got a max concurrent particles dot VAD. Right, their value is double. And max opacity is equal to, what do I got here? Max particle max opacity dot VAD. Good. No, value as double. Okay, cool. And max total particles, just following it all the way down here. Total, there it is right up there. .VAD. Oof, I did a bit of JavaScript, but here I don't understand much. Well, Bormond, we're actually going to end up in TypeScript after we finish this, providing I've got enough time. I only have about another 27 minutes, unfortunately, before I have to get off to a meeting. So we may not get to that today, and it may be tomorrow, but we'll do our best. So wait, why don't I see min particle size here? See particle size. I don't see particle size here. Let's just type in min. Min particle size. What's going on with that? Let's open this up. User controls effect builder. Where's my particle size? No particle size. Hold on. It's a num edit. It has no name. It has no name. That's the problem. So we're going to call this Ned min particle size. Like that. Okay, so there's min particle size dot VAD. Come on. I thought I had you. All right. Min particle size is equal to that. Particle air density is equal to ned particle air density right there, dot VAD. Particle gravity is equal to ned particle gravity. Perfect. Dot. I just realized it's here and I'm hitting the letter V and it's moving it up to here even though I'm already on it. So I'm like, I should just hit, I got to remember to just hit enter when I come down there. So I stop doing that. Okay, there's particle initial direction that's equal to directions of the vector. So we're going to say to vector. And we're going to type in, I think it's probably going to be TBX particle initial direction dot text. Okay. Getting through it, particle initial velocity. That's going to be a numeric. So we'll say, do we have an IV? No. Velocity. Not seeing it. Maybe we have another one that's unnamed. Initial velocity. Yeah, it looks like it's not there. Oh, wait, TV. Oh, it's a target value. Really? Hold on. Let's go back over to our emitter effect. It is. It totally is. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. All right. So it's a target value, and we want to call to target value on that is what we want to do. So we'll type in TTV there, and do that, and do this. Is my problem here? Yeah, I have that at 1. It's a target value. And a target value, for any people who have not seen this yet, a target value says basically it's different from a double in that it says, here, this is the value I want you to be at, but I can also give you a variance. And so when I ask you for your value, you come back within the variance that I've given you, and you will tell me what the number is. So it has the ability to give me a number within a range. And so that's what a target value is. It gives me the ability to give it an absolute variance or a relative variance based on this initial number. So I could say, for example, 0.02 for a 20% plus or minus whatever my target value is. So I can do something like that. I also have the ability to specify min and max pieces inside of here, and as well as a drift. And the drift means that every time I ask it for one, the next time it gives me one that's incrementally larger or smaller. So it's just kind of taking that target value and moving it in a certain direction within the min and max. The last property here just tells me how I want to handle if I get outside the min or max. Do I want to go backwards and start drifting backwards? That's what rock is going to do. Do I want to truncate, which means I just hit the max and I stop? That's what truncate does. And do I want to wrap, meaning when I hit my max, I switch back to my min? Or if I'm going backwards in my drift, when I hit the min, do I come back to the max? So it's kind of a nice way of making it very easy and fast to create a range of numbers, which for the particle system is what we need here. So there's our particle initial velocity right there. That's cool. Let's come down here. After that, we've got the particle mass. That's going to be probably ned particle mass. There it is right there. Dot value is double. And come down here in the next line. After particle mass, particle radius. This, I think, is a target value as well. Yep, that is a target value. So I'm going to say TTV to target value, and we're going to pass in TV particle radius to it, like that. Here we go. Particles per second. Almost done with all of this. Particles per second. That is, I'm pretty sure that's a ned. Particles per second. There it is right there. Value is double. And after particles per second, we have particle wind direction. That's going to be a 2 vector right there. And we're going to pass in TBX particle wind direction. That one right there. Dot text. Radius. Is radius target value? Yep, it's target value. Oh, that's the radius of the, yeah, it is. Okay, so we want to say ned radius. Oh, emitter radius. Wait, did we already do this or not? No, we have not specified that yet. Okay, good. So that's dot value is double, and emitter effect dot render older particles last is equal to, do I have that thing named checkbox? CHK, I think is what my abbreviation was for it. CB, no. Did I name it? Let's go look in our effect builder XAML. Find the word last. CKB. Okay, so that's equal to this dot is checked. And then I'll use that template again. Can I use it there? Nice. Okay. So that's render particles last. Next, we've got saturation. That's going to be equal to a target value of TV.saturation, particle saturation, and target, that's equal to, how did I get the visual effect target down below? And the other time I needed that. It's get target. It's simply the call to get target. Cool. Okay. So we're going to call get target. The get target, by the way, that's a combination of the these values at the top here. So whatever settings I have here, those are in common with both animations and the emitter and the particle emitter. So there's my target. After that, I have time offset in milliseconds, which right now I don't have a control for this yet, so I'm going to just set it at 0. What's next? Width is going to be equal to ned width, emitter width dot value is double. All right, so that's it. Get emitter effect. Holy cow. It's called here, and we return it from our call to get effect, and then we transmit that over. Okay, so next we got to go over into TypeScript, and we need to go into our dragon front overlay in TS over here. By the way, I feel like I should compile that. Anybody think I should compile all that? It kind of feels like I should. Let's go ahead here and do a rebuild on here and just watch this, see what we get over here. Got the build icon over here on the side. Rebuild all succeeded. Excellent. Okay, we can ship. Or let's actually, before we ship, yeah, Will Bennett says, nah, don't check it. Let's go to the Dragon Front game. We're in it already. And trigger effect. This is where we're coming in here and we're getting that effect. What I think I want to do is right now, all I want to do is I just want to do console log, and I want to pass the DTO in, just so we can see it and not do anything else. So I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to run. Let me kill all instances of Chrome. Looks like they're already dead. Start that up. No need to compile. Just put it in Git. It'll be fine. Nice, Hugo. Chubber 022 is asking, how long have you been wearing your wrist braces? About 20 years. I started wearing them about 20 years ago, not because I needed to, but because I was worried that that there would be problems with carpal tunnel later on. And I'm absolutely convinced that had I not started wearing them so long ago, and I never wore them, I would be out. I would not be able to program at this age. I think after this many years, because when I was not with a family, when I was all by myself, single for a number of years, I was working all the time, because that's just how I am. It's the autism that allowed me to being in my element. My world was code all around me. Okay, so let's switch over to the Dragon Front overlay. Let's bring up the console window, and let's see if we can send over an emitter effect and see if anything comes over. Wouldn't that be awesome if this actually worked? What just happened? I'm not sure why this jumped in display here. Oh, it's like it refreshed itself. I'm not seeing what we want. Did it not finish loading? Oh, no, wait, we're at a breakpoint in the back. Oh, okay. All right, so what's happening here? Unable to cast object combo box item to system.string. Well, we were kind of worried about that, I think, weren't we? Let's figure that whole thing out. Let's solve that. Okay, so we're going to say combo box item, and I'll call it CBI right here. And if that's the case, then I want to come in and say, what is the, let's do this. Let's say, actually, let's do this instead. If not that, then I want to get out. And I'll just say it's truncate. Otherwise, I'm going to say CBI dot, what do I have? Content in here? It's content. Can I call to string on it? Is it going to work? All right, so then we're going to say, I'm going to say our content. There's probably a much smarter way to do this with a combo box item. It's just now occurring to me. What I'm doing is probably insane if you're really familiar with WPF, which I am, admittedly not. So I am trying this to see if this will work. But hopefully edit and continue will help me with this. If I can come up here and let's make this set the next statement right there and step through this. So now we've got CBI here. Let's see what happens on this line. Ooh, it worked. Okay. Value converter probably. So, but I'm good. I'm okay with these lines of code because now we're at the word truncate here. And so now we're going to do this and we come out with truncate. So now we're running again. Okay, and now let's see. Did we get anything coming over in the console? That's the next question. Looks like we did not. Let's try one more time here and see what we got. Test effect. Oh, hey, I think we're good. Yeah, we're totally good. Here it is right here. There's the piece that we want. It's okay. We're at the error that we're getting. We're getting that because it thinks it's something else and it's just running it. So we have to fix that code. But it looks like all the data is coming across like we're expecting it to come across. So our bonus velocity vector, there's the x and y, the hue, which is a target value. Does it have the individual properties? What's missing? Why aren't we seeing? I think we're missing missing public properties inside our target value pieces. Let's see if that's the case here. So let's go find target value. Jump to everything, a target value. And I want the one here in DHDM. Yeah, these are not public. So I've got to make those public. So let's kill this, kill everything, come down, make these public, like that. So we get all of those across as well. Let me kill every instance of Chrome again before we start it up. Let's get it started. Oh, wait. No, let's not. There's a problem. I didn't get target binding. I'm trying to click and stop it. Trying to stop it. Let's stop debugging. All right, I need target binding in there. Okay, and let's kill every instance of Chrome again, just in case something started up, and it did. It's dead now. Now we're starting. Chubbard22 says, thanks for the reply. Of course, yeah. Feel free to ask any questions you want. I am, by no means am I an expert on anything at all. But hey, if there's some way I can help with an answer, you at least get, my perspective on it. So that might be helpful. So totally happy, right, to help. Okay, I've got about 10 minutes. Can we get some kind of emitter going in 10 minutes is our question here. So let's come in here, bring up the inspector one more time. I want to review the data as it comes across. So here we are. Here's our control app. Here's our effects builder. Let's say we want to make an emitter. Let's say it's going to be, let's make our circular radius. Let's make it 987, like that. And, for my edge spread, I'm not dividing by 100 there, because I've got it flat out at percent. So I need to, anything that's a percent, I need to adjust it, I think, a bit. Hugo Dahl says, I finally got to read your blog post about your desk setup. Very nicely and cleverly done. Except I couldn't find the desk on Amazon. I'm pretty sure it's there. At least it was there before. I might try to find that before we end the show if we do. All right, so I'm going to say test effect here. Okay, this error is okay. Don't worry about that error because we have to change the code still. I want to come in and I want to say brightness. Look at that. And now we've got it. Absolute variance, drift, max, min, relative variance, target binding, all coming across. Roy was asking at the top of the show, I wonder how those enums are going to come across. They're coming across as numbers. So we're going to have to make sure the numbers match for the enums on both sides. So we will do that. The vectors are coming across and yeah, so the data we want is coming across here. Do I have enough time to start this? I feel like I barely have enough time to start this. Let's at the very least can we do this in like 9 minutes is the question. Dragon Front came. My wife in the background is like, I think I just heard her say unlikely.
Unbloody likely.
Unbloody likely, she said. This is a family show. So the error we got is because we're trying to come in here and we assume it's one kind of effect here. What I want to do instead is I want to take this and I want to do an extract function on this, extract a method in the class. Let's rename the method to trigger animation, like that. And then I want to create another one called trigger emitter, like that. And I want to pass in DTO. And I guess I could pass in the center position as well, like I'm doing here. Ultimately, this has got to be, the targeting has got to be much more sophisticated than what I have here. I just have, it's not sophisticated at this point. Let's go in and declare this. There it is right there. And at this point, I think, let's go see what I'm doing in, let's go see if I'm working with emitters at all already here. I am. Okay, cool. So I want to do something like this is what I want to do. And I want to do it inside the trigger emitter. I want to do something like this. And I think just before I want to say, just one other thing I want to do here. Hold on a second. Let's drop a marker here. I want to do this before and after this piece right here. So I want to remove it from the world. And then afterwards, I want to add it back to the world like this. Now we want to come down and we want to access those pieces in the DTO, which, guess what, I have here. I wonder if it would be as easy as copying these to the clipboard. I got everything but width in that selection. And then kind of pasting them in a piece at a time here. Let's see what we've got here. So, what is NUS velocity vector? Why did I call it that? Is that really what I called it? Oh, bonus, duh. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, bonus velocity vector. Okay, oh yeah, thanks Will. Will got it first. Okay, so bonus velocity vector. Let's just set a marker here. Let's go find my bonus velocity vector is equal to vector, I'll say new vector, and we're going to pass in bonus velocity vector dot x and bonus velocity vector dot y. I think those are correct there. We can double check that out here. Yeah, x and y, we see them there. Okay, we've got that piece, oh, DTO dot. Okay, let's go back up. Brightness is the next one inside of here. All right, so let's go back down in here. Let's go find our brightness right there. So we're going to say brightness.target. Uptime. I don't have an uptime command here, Rambling Geek, but greetings and hello. Brightness.target. Like this. So it's dto.brightness.target. 5 minutes to go. This is going to be brightness.relative variance. If I'm remembering correctly, I just know I'm going to make a mistake here. Let's duplicate this and change it to absolute variance like that. Particles per second is going to be equal to DTO dot and whatever it is here, particles per second. There it is right there. Particles per second. Right there. Good. We need to take this whole piece right here and let me grab we need to do this essentially 3 times here. Let's grab this like this. Let's select this whole thing. Duplicate line. Whoops. I wanted to duplicate that whole selection. Can I do that? There we go. And so I want to call this hue. And I want to call this saturation. Like that. And let's get these all lined up. Okay, so I've got hue, saturation. These gone, 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 gone. Radius is going to be DTO dot, and I think it's emitter radius. No, it's just radius. It's right there. Boom. Okay, so we put that up there. Render older particles last. That's going to be, do I have it in here at all? Okay, this whole bonus velocity vector, all of this was for calculating that from that original code I copied. Here's this piece right here. Right there, render older particles last. Hopefully there's a built-in Boolean piece for that. And, oh, by the way, Rambling Geek, I got a question to you. Uptime, that is, I take it, a standard. My question is, what is that? What are you expecting to see? How long we've been going for? I have a feeling that's it. And if that's the question, we've been going for about 2 hours. I've got about 2 minutes now here. So let's comment all of this out for a second and just see what we can play with here, you know, in this piece here. So we're setting radius no matter what. Let's block this. We are playing with color. We've got, is it target location? I think that's happening. Spray angle is not needed. And there are some other ones we are putting default values to that we kind of need to fix still. But I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to refresh it here. See if we get anything coming out at all on this side when we bring this up and send something out. Because if we do, that would be awesome. Let's just do a test effect here. Anything? I'm not, oh wait, we're not entirely refreshed yet. Let's wait for that refresh to come in. It looks like the refresh is done. Let's hit the test effect. Anything? There we go. It's a big particle emitter, but it's working. That means that if I come in here and I say, let's make the hue 0, but let's make, saturation's not coming across. So it looks like saturation is not working there. Looks like I'm not seeing your test orbit either. And I'm not sure why that's the case, but we do have the emitter coming over here. Brightness and saturation looks like they're not. We need to figure out what's going on with brightness, but definitely that's there. What if we change the radius and make it smaller to like say 33 and we say test the effect? There you can see it right down there. There it is right there and working. So, okay. So we're getting close. I'm at my stop time, unfortunately. Tomorrow we'll take this to the next level so we can actually send these across. And then after that, we're going to make it so that we can build a whole bunch of these, give them names, and send a whole group of these across. Will says it's time to give away. He wants to give away
It's a brand new
brand new car
car!
every day. We give away a brand new car, except for today. Today we're going to give away
Code Rush giveaway!
copy CodeRushed. So if you've just joined us, we've given away like thousands of brand new cars every day. It seems you'd think that I would, be using that money for retirement, but apparently I like a good challenge. Actually, the truth is we've never given away a brand new car. It's always a copy CodeRushed every time. Today's winner is wait for it, dropping up from underneath the Visual Studio menus up there.
Jesse Skinner.
Okay, Jesse Skinner. So congratulations. Yeah, not even a Matchbox car. Maybe for episode 500, we'll give away a Matchbox car. So Jesse Skinner, thank you so much. Congratulations, and I will contact you. If you want a chance for winning a copy CodeRushed, follow us. I give away a copy every regularly scheduled episode. So with that, thanks to Will Bennett, thanks to Rambling Geek, Chubbard 22, Zhenjing, Hugo, all of you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks as well to Jeff Fritz for the raid. Let me see if I can, if anybody else is out there that I can raid to in return, because that's a skill I need to learn. Looks like, is Jeff Fritz really back? Is still gone? Nope, he's just hosting us. As look like what it is. So it looks like nobody else is online. So with that, we'll say thanks a lot for everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.